Hello, I'm Sarah the Gallifreyan Ravenclaw. So I was planning to make this prior to the 60th specials, but I didn't get around to it, and it's now more important than it was then. So I'm sure you've seen the title. Why this relaunch has to work. So I'll just start by prefacing this beginning bit with I'm the only one in my family who keeps an eye on sort of online stuff. Only my dad's really on social media, my mum and brother aren't, and I'm the only one who watches like Doctor Who reviews and WhoTubers and all that sort of thing. So really I'm the only one who really knows what's going on. My dad might see something on like Twitter, but most of the time I'm the only one who knows that sort of thing. And they watch the episodes and like Unleashed or whatever, but don't watch like reviews. So when I mentioned, I think it was just before Power of the Doctor, how unpopular Jodie's era was on like social media, they were really surprised. My mum even said, oh, she thought more people would have quit during the Moffat era because of how confusing his stories were, which I don't think anyone's going to disagree they were confusing. So like I doubt I'm the only one who remembers before Jodie was even announced seeing things of people when there were obviously rumours circulating with a number of women's names being in the rumours as well as men. So there were all those people who were like, oh, a woman couldn't possibly play the Doctor. Ooh, I'll never watch it then. Oh, if a woman's cast, I'm not going to watch that. It will ruin it. So they would never have really given Jodie's era a chance. Some people watched her era looking for criticisms. I'm sure you all know some of the names I'm thinking of. I don't have a problem with criticism. In and of itself, criticism isn't a bad thing. Criticism for criticism's sake is. Also, apologies if you can hear that bird out my window. But that was a constant thing throughout the Jodie and Chibnall era. There were all those people online who watched every week looking for something to complain about. Which, the problem is, that put off casual viewers from watching it. Sort of, oh, if you see good things online, yeah, no, I might tune in, kind of viewers aren't going to do it if that's all they're seeing, all this negativity. So with the whole David Tennant return, I hoped that that was all behind us. But every single episode they found something to complain about. So I'm currently filming this prior to the giggle, so I don't know what they're going to complain about with that. But Davros, Rose, Isaac Newton. I'm sure you all know exactly what people have said about all of those. I will probably touch on them more in my review of the entire 60th next week, and whatever they say about the giggle, probably the toy maker's too camp or something racist about Shooty. But we'll see what their problem with the giggle is. But then this has been the narrative that's all over the internet, suffocating all the positivity stuff from those of us who actually care about the show and enjoy watching it. So, if you are one of those people who has written Doctor Who is dead anywhere, just don't watch it. If you hate it that much, why are you watching it? Just to spread negativity online? Don't watch a programme just to complain about it on social media. If you don't enjoy it, fine, don't watch it. I've been trying to persuade some friends who are more casual viewers to watch the 60th, but they're just getting bombarded by all that stuff on social media. So that's making it quite hard for me to persuade them, because as far as they're concerned, the episodes are rubbish. Because that's all they've been seeing. So, rant over, although I'm sure I will have a similar thing to say next week, when I specify the actual examples in my review, onto the topic of the actual video. So, I touched on this during my video about what Disney are doing wrong, when I said the BBC are banking a lot on this relaunch. But it's not just the BBC. It's Disney, it's everyone, really. Relaunching it with the fan favourite New Who Doctor back in the seat. Relaunching it with the showrunner who successfully brought it back the last time. Him then recruiting all his old team, Judy Gardner, Murray Gold. I've said before, I disagreed with bringing Murray back. I thought it was fine for the 60th, because if 14's theme was nothing like 10's, that'd be weird, and Donna having an entirely new theme, and all that lot, and they'd have just had to pay him a ton in copyright anyway. So, I got that, but for Shooty's era, I felt like there should have been new talent. But you can see Russell is trying to make sure it succeeds by bringing back those who did it before, those who know what they're doing. There's very little new talent. It's people who he either worked with on Doctor Who all those years ago, or has worked with on the programmes he's done since. Half the production crew are those from It's a Sin. But Doctor Who has a very dedicated fan base who know every word, and then there's those who will complain if a single line contradicts anything. The obvious one being half human in the TV movie, which even the writer has admitted he's got a lot of hate for over the years, and things like The Timeless Child, which we all know got very unpopular. Personally, I like The Timeless Child. It went back to the original idea of not really knowing who the Doctor was. Because you think the first incarnation, he was an old man. It was quite easily inferred he had this secret past you didn't know about. And I don't think the name of Susan's parents were ever mentioned or anything. So there's clearly a secret past we don't know about there. And it actually goes along with more stuff Classic had, because there was obviously the Morbius Doctors, and the second and third Doctors both said they were thousands of years old. And if you're already commenting below, The Timeless Child is not canon, I will give my usual response. It is whether you like it or not. The half-human thing was a throwaway line that could have been written off as a joke. There's countless lines of a Doctor referring to, meeting a historical figure who then they meet in a future episode with no reference that they've ever met them before. That happens all the time, and don't even get me started on Stephen Fry. If you want contradictory lines, that's the king of them. But The Timeless Child is a key part of the 13th Doctor's era. It doesn't remove anything, as the Doctor still doesn't remember those lives. But the problem is, if Russell has included something like The Timeless Child, so we'll use that as the example. If he's included something like that he doesn't think will be a problem, in season 1, and the entire fan base hates it. If he's included something like that in the first season, he's not just written season 2, it's already being filmed. By the time season 1 goes out, they've probably wrapped. So if there is something like The Timeless Child he decides to entirely scrap after season 1 and he's seen the reaction to it, he's going to have to scrap an entire episode. Or even more, and do loads of reshoots. Let's use The Timeless Child as the example. If Chibnall had decided to scrap The Timeless Child after seeing the reaction at the end of Series 12, but had already filmed Flux at the time, he'd have had to cut out all the bits with Tectonian and the Division, all the bits in Once Upon a Time. That would have been massive reshoots. That would have been really complicated to do. He stuck with it knowing the reaction, which, good for him. But Russell won't have that choice. If it's something he would go, oh, actually, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should scrap that. He's going to have to get the actors back, do reshoots, probably rebuild sets. That's going to be a logistical nightmare. So he might end up just sticking with it just for ease, rather than he actually still thinks it's a good idea, it's a good storyline. So I think the reason he started filming season 2 so early, partly for the post-production, and partly so he's just ready if there is any unforeseen issues. So if we had another global pandemic, for instance, or just anything, strikes that would stop them being able to film for a few months. I think he's also taking that time off to focus on the spin-offs. But that's worrying me. Is he writing the spin-offs? And you might be going, well, of course he is. He's the showrunner. But I double-checked. On Sarah Jane Adventures, he co-wrote the pilot, Invasion of the Bane, and the only other episode he wrote was Death of the Doctor, which is the one featuring Matt Smith. So clearly, Russell wasn't running Doctor Who at that point. Sarah Jane Adventures is mostly written by Phil Ford and Gareth Roberts. Torchwood, Chibnall was in charge of it. Russell delegated it. He wrote the pilot, he wrote the first episode of Children of Earth, and co-wrote a few parts of Miracle Day. But again, Miracle Day was 2011. Matt Smith was the Doctor by that point. So he didn't write that until after he'd left Doctor Who. So if he's doing all the spin-offs by himself, then he's going to get creative burnout and everything will suffer. The plot lines for Doctor Who will be maybe not as strong because he's too busy thinking of storylines for other series. Even in Torchwood, Chibnall only wrote like 2 or 3 episodes a series. And that was when he was the showrunner of it. And the only one that's currently like 90% confirmed is the unit spin-off. So I'll do my theories on that once it's actually officially confirmed. But if he's already, let's say Russell has already written the entire first series of the unit spin-off and has it ready to start filming as soon as they wrap on season 2, which will probably at this rate be like February. But what if that's not the unit spin-off he's written and got ready? What if it's a spin-off based on this controversial thing in season 1 that we don't know about yet? So, to use the Timeless Child again, you've got a spin-off about Tech Taeyeon and the Division, ready to broadcast straight after Flux finished, that was already filmed prior to Series 12 going out. Can you imagine how that would have gone down? So I hope Russell isn't writing the whole unit spin-off and he will delegate it like he did with Torchwood to Chibnall, where he's there and overseeing it if you need, can write the pilot, and then like if Shooty turns up for an episode, he co-writes that one. But just be there to assist whoever he's put in charge of running it, which is probably also a test for, are you a good future showrunner? But then, let's go to the future. So, it's a few years from now, we've had 4 series of Shooty, 2 series of a unit spin-off, and 1 series of another spin-off. All hypothetical, obviously. But Shooty is leaving. Russell is stepping back and leaving it to another showrunner, but still overseeing it. Like I said, he would be with the unit spin-off, and like he did with Torchwood. He's still there, ready, but he's not the showrunner anymore. He's handed it over, probably to whoever was running the unit. Then, at that point, everyone is going to reevaluate whether or not to continue. The BBC, Bad Wolf, and Disney will all sit down, have a meeting, and say, are we going to continue as we are? Are we going to change the funding? Are we going to trust this new person, this new doctor? Are we going to trust this new showrunner and new doctor to continue the series as it is? If Disney pulled out at that point, the budget for all 3 series is meaning one of them will be in trouble. So whichever spin-off is less popular would probably get instantly shelved. So that would probably mean that the other spin-off would end up being a class of only getting 1 series. But then the production value of the other 2 would still decrease. Would casual viewers remain? Even if no one pulls out, even if Disney and Bad Wolf and BBC are all still on board, after Shooty and Russell, will they remain then anyway? Or are they even going to remain past this Christmas? How many people do you know who you've spoken to and they've gone, oh yeah, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and then you talk to them and realise they only ever watched Tennant? I know loads of people who are like that. Most of the time, they never even watched 11th Hour. They never gave it a chance. It wasn't David Tennant. They weren't interested. I've been worrying for a while that Ncuti's going to have that problem. I'm hoping the Giggle is going to have a good introduction for him that will persuade people to watch at least the Christmas special. But I'm worried that they haven't engaged all these casual viewers enough to get them to stay. And I think that is partly due to all the social media stuff that I said about at the beginning. And so I'm going to say something about that I'm definitely going to get a lot of hate for. Chibnall didn't kill Doctor Who. Anyone who says he did. It's their very loud negative narrative that killed the general consensus of it. Made it impossible to just have casual conversations about it with the not quite so dedicated viewers. When they just get bombarded by all the negativity on social media from people who've probably not even seen the whole episode. Like, going back to like Isaac Newton. Read most of those ones and you'd think that they think he's in the entire episode. He was in the 2-minute pre-title sequence only. So I hoped that would all be over, and with David Tennant and Catherine Tate and Russell T Davies there wouldn't be that problem. But there is. So even with them, the trolls have something negative to say. So I just hope it doesn't ruin it and cause it to at least be perceived as a failure. Like I said on the other one, if the BBC think it's not doing that well, they can shelve it quite easily. It's still a BBC production. They have the power to do that. So if the BBC are just monitoring social media and all they see is all this negativity, they're going, oh yeah, no one likes it anymore, fine, bin. Which isn't true, but is what social media is saying. I can get onto the negativities of social media and I'll be here all day. There's a reason I don't use it. But that's the problem. If that's all people see, and that's all people are bombarded with, it's just going to be... They think it's a bad programme. They think it's so rubbish that they won't even give it a try. And there's probably some people who used to call themselves dedicated Whovians who just see so much of that negativity. You basically have the choice of get off social media or enjoy the show. And that shouldn't be a choice you have to make. If you enjoy social media and enjoy the show, that shouldn't be exclusive. But it really is. You can't follow an awful lot of Doctor Who things on social media. Like, I only follow positive YouTube channels. I only follow YouTube channels who actually enjoy the show. I don't follow any of those ones who say Doctor Who is dead. Yet every comment section I'm having an argument with someone about it. Where they say Chibnall killed it. It's all gone woke. Every single comment section. Even those on channels that are positive. Just going to put it out here. If there is a single comment down below saying Doctor Who is dead, Doctor Who is just gone woke, they will be deleted. And this won't be the only time I say that, and I will stick to that. If I see any of those comments, they will be deleted. While I'm doing this, I just wanted to touch on, again, in my previous video, when I said about all the Disney Plus mess. So, as we've now had, at the time of recording, 2 specials, by the time you see this, probably all 3, we've got some answers to the questions I asked. So I thought I'd just do an update of which ones we now know the answers to and which ones we still don't know the answers to. So, again, I'm in the UK, so this is all second-hand, so do feel free to correct me if I have got anything wrong, and there are a few questions as well for anyone overseas. So, I do believe it dropped on Disney Plus at whatever time 6:30 UK time is for you. Which was the same time it started here. I still don't know if they do have a live stream feature, because unfortunately most of the people I've heard this from are Australian, and that means it dropped between, I think, 2 and 4 AM. So most of them haven't been watching it at the same time I have, because they're asleep then, which I don't blame them, it's 2 AM. So if you are watching it on Disney Plus and have actually managed to watch it the same minute it comes on, and you can tell me if there is something that stops you fast forwarding straight to the end, please let me know below. Unleashed still does not appear to be available outside of the UK, which I think is a real shame. If someone can let me know after the Christmas special and the first episode of season 1, if those episodes have now become available on Disney Plus. Although I think it will be rather weird that you'd then be 4 or 5 episodes behind at that point, because I've only really seen 1.5 episodes, but the presenter has been doing a sort of tour of all the different jobs. So then you'd miss half the jobs if you aren't given the whole series. So I think they really should be making sure that's available. I've already said that in my other one, that fine, Disney didn't put any money into it, doesn't mean they can't buy it off Bad Wolf Productions. So I really think Russell needs to do something about that and make sure that is available. If Disney don't want it, sell it to ABC and HBO and whoever else was the Doctor Who distributor in that country beforehand. Also, Doctor Who in the UK on Disney Plus still comes up as empty. I just get Doctor Strange and the Good Doctor if I search Doctor. So it definitely isn't on Disney Plus here, which I said before would be good in a way to then have it for people who don't have TV licenses to still be able to watch it, but I understand that the BBC would want to still be the exclusive ones in the UK, because that means they get the UK figures, because those figures haven't been too bad recently. I said before about the picture on iPlayer for the 2023 onwards series. It is currently David and Catherine on that poster with the like blue and purple light. So I will keep you updated on when that changes. I'm assuming that at some point in between the Giggle and Church and Ruby Road, that picture will change to Shooty, possibly with Millie. And if someone could actually tell me what the picture on Disney Plus currently is, whether they have got just the Whoniverse logo or they've got a picture of David or Shooty, because I'm curious about that and I can't access it as I'm in the UK. And can my Australian viewers, as I know I do have some, confirm whether New Who is actually available right now in Australia, with the exception of like physical media? Is it available anywhere? If so, where? And is that a free streaming service or is that a paid one? Because I've heard some things saying it's not even available anywhere. I don't get why Disney would have stopped ABC having the rights to New Who unless they are trying to procure it. But they haven't said they are. So at the moment, if that's leaving you with nothing, I'm very sorry, because that is a really stupid thing to have done. To have lost all of New Who, so it's not even available. So I'm really hoping someone's doing something about that, if I'm right that it's not currently available at all. And obviously, same goes for any other country. If you have lost the ability to see New Who by the Disney deal, and obviously we know that New Who is not on Disney Plus yet, then do let me know below and what country you're from and where it used to be available. And if you can find anything about their contract and go, oh, well, they had a contract but it expired last December, then that would be interesting to know, because I'm hoping Disney are doing what I said they should be doing. And they are trying to get New Who. Because if they've taken the rights away from other people and not allowing other countries to show it, there must be something going on there. So if you are overseas and have answers to any of these questions, do let me know down below. Or if you have any other questions, anything I haven't thought of that is a problem for you with it being on Disney Plus. I assume Disney Plus is probably quite good at international subtitles. If you need the subtitles in French or something, I assume it's quite good at that. But if that is now harder for you to access if you're not that good at English, I'm hoping you understand some English, otherwise you're not going to be understanding me right now anyway. But if you or a family member needs subtitles in another language, is that easily accessible? What about sign language, audio description? I'm hoping those are all alright, but if you have been having any problems with anything like that, that would be interesting to find out as well. So this isn't Disney Plus bashing, it's just trying to find out what all the problems that people have been having are, and then we can work as a group to see if we can find out any answers, and if I get any answers I will be putting them on my next ones, because I have been messaging a few people in comment sections asking these questions to try and get some answers. So full review of, so as I said before, I'm going to do a full review of the entire 60th next week. I decided not to do weekly ones for the last 2 episodes because I didn't feel there was that much to talk about. So I'll just do a general all 3 review. And if you've been trying to keep track of my upload schedule, I apologise that it's been a bit all over the place. I was always before aiming for Saturdays and doing Sundays if I failed. Currently that's now Sundays and Mondays if I fail. The reason it got delayed this week was that video took 2.5 hours to save. The companion sorting one, just because there was 2 images and all the audio. It took 2.5 hours to export the video, and my laptop died in the middle, so it took me most of the night. So apologies that one was a day later than I hoped. It also took a while to edit, as it was an hour-long video. So Sundays, but Mondays if I fail, and I might start putting more community posts up, certainly on Sundays. And if you haven't been voting on my community posts, the last couple of weeks I've done discussions about the definitions of a companion. So I did one where I explained the definition, and then another one where I sorted companions into different categories. So if you want to watch those, they'll be hopefully at the end. And I've been putting up these community posts with different votes, like, was Martha a companion during series 4? Which Doctors is Sarah Jane a companion to? Just 3 and 4, or 10 as well, or even 10 and 11? So those sorts of things. So if you haven't voted on those, please do, because the more votes, the more accurate of an idea of what people think it is. So hopefully here is my new playlist of all the Doctor Who videos. I've been meaning to make it for ages, just so they're all sorted into categories. So you can go and watch all my Doctor Who related videos, and full review of the 60th next week, because it was a bit too tight a turnaround to do it this week. So other than that, thank you for watching. Bye.